Yo, this is Raymond. Disclaimer before the podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will no longer be posting podcast episodes after this one on my channel. I created a new channel, link in bio of the video description, where all the new podcast episodes will be put. Okay, enjoy the podcast.
All right, my name is Anthony,
My name is Raymond.
and this is Erudite.
Alright, cool. Episode 2, we are talking about a lifestyle, not a philosophy, called digital minimalism today.
Uh-huh.
And because Anthony's knew it, it's like new for him. But for me, I've kind of been doing it for a while, and I guess we can talk about this subject.
Yeah. So before we talk about, no, not before. To begin, we should just talk about what is digital minimalism. So Raymond can give like a quick synopsis on it.
Okay, so there's a book by this guy called Cal Newport. He's like a CS professor at some like small university in USA. It doesn't really matter. But digital minimalism is like his philosophy. I used the word. Regarding technology use and digital media in the modern day. And his idea is that like minimalism in regards to our belongings, where people only keep the stuff that they think really means a lot to them. In terms of digital use, we should only keep the apps that really provide sufficient value into our lives to justify the use of them. For example, like instead of using TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, Discord, iMessage, someone like a digital minimalist might get off Instagram, they might get off Snapchat, they might get off a few other apps because they find that these apps don't really provide them with any value. And another part of the philosophy is kind of like a prioritization of active leisure rather than passive consumption of content. And that maybe be like you play basketball rather than watching someone play NBA 2K.
Nice. Okay. I also wanted to add on. I like to think of digital minimalism as more of a process rather than like a lifestyle, or like how it is for me right now. It's a process rather than like something I apply, if that makes any sense. Like the book itself gives like pretty good like steps on how you would transition into digital minimalism, and I think the lifestyle afterwards is pretty self-explanatory, but the initial like decluttering of your digital life is like the main like process that I feel like is like the most valuable part of the book. And essentially, like Raymond said, you have to like prioritize and like find the certain apps that you use that give you the most value. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you get off all social medias, but really like asking yourself like, oh, do I really need Instagram? Like, sure, you can like look at like the very like specific examples, like, oh, I use Instagram to keep up with my friends and or family, and it's like a way to like connect with them. But then a question someone who is a digital minimalist would ask is like, oh, is there any other means to stay connected with my friends? Whether this be like, oh, a different messaging app, because even though you say to yourself that, oh, I use it to keep connected with my friends, you also use it for other reasons, such as like watching IG reels or like looking at posts and etc. Right? And even though like you have this notion where like, oh, you have like a reason to keep Instagram, you have to look objectively like the value of keeping it, because at least for me, I say, oh, I keep Instagram so I can keep connected with certain friends. But like in reality, I could probably just like ask for their phone numbers, and like if I really wanted to talk to them, I could like call them once in a while and or text them on like a different platform. And then like part of like the harm of having Instagram, at least for me, is I feel like my happiness and or my mood is like very correlated to like Instagram. And like let's say I post something, if I get a lot of reception, like people reply to my story and or people like my story or reply or like my post or whatever, right? I feel like my mood goes up. And like, it took a lot of it took like one specific time for me to realize like, oh shit, this is terrible. Like, I don't want my happiness to be forever tangled with like this app. And and I guess Raymond can talk about his experience more, because like he's been doing it for quite a long time.
Okay, so I think I'm quite fortunate to have gone into quote unquote like self-help in like in like grade 7. Like I started meditating in like September of grade 7 for some reason. And then it's like, I think grade 7 wasn't really a definitive no Instagram period, but I think I did not use Instagram that much. I remember I was in China back then, so I wouldn't be able to really communicate with my friends much anyways, because we had different time zones. So I would just like text them on Discord like at 10 a.m. and like 10 p.m. and that'd basically be all my communication. And then grade 8 was, I never really read the book until like quarantine of grade 9, but I've kind of had like a lifestyle that's been less focused on tech anyways, really. So I remember I came back from China the summer of grade 7, going into grade 8. And then I would have like something on my phone that would like limit my usage to like 1 hour, 30 minutes or like 1 hour or something. And then the summer of grade 8, I disabled Instagram for the first time, I believe. And it's kind of been that way for like every summer since. Grade 9 was kind of crazy in the sense of like COVID happened, so I couldn't really communicate with people. But then being stuck at home, I had the option of either like passively consuming like TikToks and like YouTube, or actually doing something. And back then I was like very productivity focused. So I would literally like, in the beginning, like March and April, I would still use technology a decent amount, but like in the sense of like communicating with people, not that much. I remember I would try to talk to new people and I felt lonely as well, but also like I didn't want to use technology, so I would check my phone like twice a day. And then later on, it got pretty it was like pretty, I don't know how I feel about this now, but it was like pretty intense in the sense of like I would check my phone like once every 10 days. And then sometimes like we're both on like student council at our school. And then back then we were developing an app for the school, and someone would try to contact me. Albert would try to, hopefully you're listening to this, but he would try to contact me. And then for 3 days, like you wouldn't be able to reach me and nobody knew where I was. But I was like grinding Chinese. I was like learning Chinese, like learning Spanish, doing all this other stupid stuff on the side. I find that my use of technology compared to now, like now I use it more, and now I'm also less productive. I don't know if it's good or bad, but then it was definitely correlated to like how productive I was correlated to my use of technology. Grade 10 came around. I did not use Instagram. I was off Instagram for the summer. Since like from like May to like September. Fast forward to now, after like an election for a student council, which I'll talk about that later. But after I won that election, I turned off my Instagram. So the only real way you could probably connect with me was on my phone, or like you have my number, or Discord, and like you can watch my YouTube videos on my channel. So
Nice.
yeah.
What did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about the reasons why I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Like, after Raymond talked about his reasons. So how I learned about it is like through Raymond. Raymond like told me to read this book like in grade 10, I think. Was it in grade 10? It was
Probably.
It was sometime like hella long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And like up until very recently, I don't know. For me, I said, I can just like limit my usage of these apps, and it'll be like chill. Like I don't really need to like delete it and go like hella radical, because I feel like a kind of surface level critique of like digital minimalism is like, like it's kind of like just like control yourself, have self control. Where it's like not really the case about self control, because like even though I've started very recently, like I feel like I've experienced like some sort of withdrawal from not having Instagram, which sounds insane, but like I often recognize that like when I'm eating food, like literally like 30 minutes ago, I was like eating my chili from Tim Hortons, And then I reached for my phone because I was going to scroll on TikTok and or Instagram. And like, there's no one in my DMs. Like, there's no one to reply to because I don't talk to people, right? Like, it's just not very active, right? But I still check it regardless. And then I check it, or I reach for my phone, and then the self-realization comes, like, oh, I don't even have Instagram. What am I doing? So, these couple days have been, not rough, but eye-opening because I would check my phone, in the 1 hour preparation before this podcast. I've checked my phone, or I've thought about checking my phone at least 9 times. And there's nothing to check because I'm not messaging people. There's no current plans. My only plan right now is to make this podcast, right? So again, that's eye-opening. And then one of the thoughts I had before, decluttering, which is the process of transitioning to digital minimalism. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, the decluttering stage. I was really concerned with how do you keep in contact with friends? Because I don't know, if you know me or you are the same age as me and we live in the same area, you might notice that there's this phenomenon where it's really hard to keep up with friends without Instagram, I feel. Mm-hmm. Or at least for someone who has had Instagram for a really long time and been using it. It was genuinely a concern. How am I gonna keep up with these people? Because I feel one of the means to keep connected is replying to stories, which is it feels very odd. And I don't know, I asked Raymond about it and I didn't get a super clear answer, so we can talk about it now. Mm-hmm. How do you find keeping connected with certain people who you don't have WhatsApp or Discord with, or you just don't?
I think my answer right now is not going to be very good. It's going to be pretty bad. But my answer right now is either you get them onto the apps that you want to use, iMessage, which I think is pretty reasonable. Uh-huh. I have an Android, so unfortunately that's also a bit of a hassle because sometimes I don't even know what's happening because I'm using SMS and they get the green text and it's you don't even know what's happening. But it's still manageable. But I think the priority goes from texting conversations and responding to stories to more better forms of interaction, calls, video calls, in person talking. Did I answer your question? My answer would be try to get them onto the apps. If they're nah, I'm not downloading Discord for you, then it's so are we friends?
I'm not sure. I feel I was talking to my friend because before I started the declutter phase, I messaged a bunch of people who I'm sort of talking to semi regularly. I'm okay, what's your phone number? Most of the people already have their phone numbers because I don't know, I just having a bunch of contacts because it's just easier that way. But the people I didn't, I asked her for their phone numbers and I don't know, because I don't know, it's it's gonna be a transition to keep in contact with these people because I feel the issue is that when you switch to this digital minimalism and everyone else is still cluttered, quote unquote, with social medias and stuff, it's kind of a one-way thing. You as a person who's decluttering have to be more intentional about reaching out to those people. Do you find that a thing or not really?
I think that's a thing. Just for context, a declutter is basically in the book, he recommends a phase where you go for 30 days, where you only use the technology that you think is necessary for your social/professional life. So for me, during the school year, that might have been Google Classroom and Discord. Yes. And your question was, you have to put more intention.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for sure, because especially when you first start talking to people, it's very easy to start talking to people on Instagram where you reply to stories or you drop your number. Except we're not in grade 8. We don't do drop numbers anymore.
Sadly.
But it's very easy to talk like that. But then when you're I actually don't check Instagram that often. do you want to message me on Discord or do you want to message me on SMS? I find that deters me from starting conversations with certain people, because I know that it'll probably fizzle out because either one, they don't have Discord, and two, the user experience of SMS is bad. But I don't feel like that bad about it because I feel like I have enough people in my life to where I don't need to get new people necessarily. There's like a lot of like evolutionary psychology in the book, regarding like how many people humans are designed to talk to and how we're kind of like overloaded with all this constant connection on technology. And there's something about like Dunbar's number, or like there's like a lot of other stuff like when you text people, you're not really engaging your whole like social brain because you're literally only getting like words, whereas there's so much like non-verbal communication in regards to like body language, like tonality, all of this, and it's like very poor in a sense as a talking like method of communication. So then sometimes like I'm like chill with not having text convos because I know they probably won't go that far anyways. I maybe just like talking to people in real life if I do see them. Like there's more I feel like there's more intention, but there's also more like spontaneity, or I hate serendipity, but I'll say that word in the way you interact with people once you're on like digital minimalism.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, like let's say, I don't use Snapchat, but I feel like people who use Snapchat would understand because like Snapchat is like designed for like meeting new people or like connecting with new people. Because like there's literally like a feature to like quick add and shit, and like the medium itself of like snapping people is like the complete opposite, like the antithesis to like digital minimalism. Because like, bro, you add a girl on Snapchat and you like want to connect with them, you want to like chat her up, and then like, how would you, let's say like you're a person who uses Snapchat, how would you like, I feel like that's like a hella radical change. It's like go from like having Snapchat and like this like form of social media where like you're constantly like messaging people. Like I feel like again, I don't use Snapchat, but in my head, this is how it works. Like if you use Snapchat, like I don't know, talk about it after you hear this podcast. Please. But like you would like check your phone. Like at least in my musical theater class at school, like I know people who had Snapchat, and like MS would check their phone like every fucking like 3 minutes, like 2-3 minutes, like for snaps. And I feel like that was like step one of like realizing, fuck, like phones have like control of their lives. And that sounds very like preachy and like self-help-esque, but like it was like kind of eye-opening in the sense that like, shit, this controls your lives. But then the opposite of that is, okay, if I were to like switch to it, how do I like ready myself to like take this huge like leap of faith of like, not like going from talking to like new people and or like this like very shallow form of like communication of like Snapchat or like Instagram messages to like creating new or like creating more deeper connections. And I feel like, I don't know, it's like something I would have to like get used to like over this 30-day period. But like at least that was like definitely one of the bigger things, because like I don't know, I feel like making new friends, even though you're right, like it probably does not matter that like I talked to this one new person like this week, but like I don't know, it seems like I don't know, I feel like it keeps my social skills sharp, but like learning how to small talk, because then I feel like
text?
yeah, because I feel like that's the only way small talk, because I don't small talk with my friends. Like if they start talking about something small, I don't know, like not small, but like, you know what I mean by small talk. Like, oh, what's the fucking weather? Or what did you do? Like, I don't give a shit, dog. Like, let's like talk about something that's slightly more relevant. I don't know. Like, oh, let's hang out, and or let's make plans to go to the gym or some shit. Like small talk, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be like a drastic difference, because I feel like my daily life, I feel like I spend at least like a quarter to half of like my messaging of like just small talk, and it's like rather it's a very like non-engaging. So I don't know, like it's it's a worry for sure, I guess. Like having those like social skills like be duller. I don't know. Do you find that you find small talk harder now because of digital minimalism, or is that not connected at all?
I mean, small talk with like new people.
Yeah.
I think I don't even engage in it really.
Oh.
Or like sometimes I do, and then it's like okay, but I don't really put that much effort into it because I only check Instagram like never. I feel like the way I meet people is not through the internet, and maybe I think that has led to like a sort of like sense of alienation / disconnect towards my peers in general, because everybody's using technology, and I'm like I'm not like above other people because I'm not using it, but it's just like I'm slightly different in this way. So there has been like a bit of a sense of like disconnect, but I feel like the benefits from digital minimalism like easily outweigh that social aspect. Also on the point of Snapchat, I've never been someone who is very like use Snapchat a lot, but I have gone from digital minimalism to downloading Snapchat and then to deleting it again. I don't want to talk too much on the topic like about these people, because I feel like if I were to do that, I would come off very condescending. So yeah.
You want to finish your thought though?
Of what? Of Snapchat people?
Yeah, I don't know. If you are a person that uses Snapchat, like respond to this podcast after you hear it. It's probably gonna be a short one, so like you should listen all the way through. But like a question for a viewer or for our viewers would be like, how would you approach like keeping connected with your friends when all your friends are quote unquote like still on these social medias? I don't know why I said quote unquote. Mm-hmm. Like I could have just said it. I don't know. Like, do you think that's a huge aspect? Because it's hard to ask Raymond, because Raymond has been like off social media for so long that like bro like doesn't understand like if you're trying to talk to a new girl, like you need to like respond to their story and shit. Like that's like the only means, because like to to like slide is like to be very like not effective, I think. And like I think the main thing is that now like it's not as easy, and maybe this is a bad thing, because like I'm so used to like the luxuries of like a easy way to conversate through like social media, because like there's always like a medium, whether that be like a post and or like a story reply, because like you can reply to a girl story or a guy story, it doesn't matter, and it's like there's conversations to be had. But now that like I have to like create these organic relationships through other means, through like I don't know, like messaging them about like I don't know, like how do you have you made a lot of like new friends recently? Like that sounds super fucking weird. Sorry. Like recently? I feel like I just insinuated that you have no friends.
Not the summer. Yeah, not really, cause it's like during school, it's like pretty easy for me to make new friends or like talk to new people. But during the summer, it's just like I don't really care to meet new people anyway. So I don't really, because there's no way for me to really do it unless I like go to parties. But then that's not like there's no way for me to do it online. But I don't really care either. So yeah.
I feel like we're going in circles soon. Like we're about to go in a circle, because like I just have this like hella concern. Like, then what the fuck am I gonna do? And like, I don't know. Like the obvious answer is like have other means of like using that time, whether that be like learning Chinese or some shit, which I'm trying to start again. Like, you know, like my Mando finna go crazy after this 30-day period. But what else? What other topics are there on digital minimalism? I feel like it's a rather simple concept. I don't know.
You could talk about like the reasoning why, because you did talk about like how it's like, oh, this controls my life, but in order to cultivate that amount of like self-awareness,
there's like more reasoning.
Yeah, to like, cause I feel like we've been given these messages that social media bad, technology bad, but it's like besides of like being extremely distracting and whatever. There's like scientific evidence behind it. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like this is also common knowledge. Maybe it's just like we know that we should sleep more, but we don't. And it's similar with this. It's like we know that this is making us depressed. This is giving us body dysmorphia. This is like making us feel bad overall. This is making our conversation more shallow, like less likely to go outside, enjoy life and whatever, like messing up your dopamine, like all of this stuff. But we still use it. Mm-hmm. And I think the reasoning why is because like Cal Newport mentions in the book, it's literally like a team of the smartest computer scientists and psychologists creating an algorithm versus your primitive brain, which has evolved like 200,000 years ago from like hunter-gatherers who had to like survive in like caves or whatever, versus like the best AI and the smartest people working at Google and like Facebook. Your brain's going to lose. So it's just so hard to quote unquote self-control yourself. And that's also why Cal Newport says you should do a declutter rather than like slowly deleting an app one by one or like turning on do not disturb. Like these small things don't really work because you're going to end up losing against the algorithm, versus when you like completely pull the plug out and you have like 30 days to contemplate and like think about your new life, get adjusted to your new lifestyle. Then you realize like, maybe I don't actually need some of these things. Like after I stopped using tech, I was like, maybe I don't even need YouTube. Maybe I don't need Netflix. Like these are useful to some extent. YouTube is useful if I want to do this in this certain scenario and these certain circumstances. But under other circumstances, it's not useful. So you create like rules around it. Like I'll only use YouTube to learn like Spanish at this time of the day, or like I'll only listen to like this podcast or like this music or this album like at this time of the day. And you become a lot more intentional. And then when you have like, I'm going on, I'm like preaching. I'm like giving a sermon right now, but it's like, once you have more intention, you really feel like you have more control over your life. And I found that very empowering back when I started it. And, even though right now I'm not the best at quote unquote digital minimalism, I spend my days watching movies.
Oh, you too?
Yeah.
We can talk about movies another time. I love movies.
Yeah.
But you had a question, but then you just went on. Your question was like, what caused you? Like what was the catharsis that like caused you to like realize it? Because like you said something about like it's you against like these like smartest people on earth, like these like psychologists and like computer scientists. Like what was the moment, or like how did you realize that you needed to like declutter? And then and you started going on about like the book and like summarizing it. But to go back on your question, that was like way at the beginning of that, like that thing was again I decided to do this because I had a post and I realized my happiness, like I felt psychologically like unhappy, like literally, because like I was getting I wasn't getting like what I wanted in terms of like validation, like digital validation. I'm like, shit. And then I was like, fuck, I'm not trying to like have this like forever. And it's like an endless cycle of like my mood going up and down because of people like interacting with my content. And then I had this like fucking conversation, well, not even conversation, it was like a passing conversation with this person when I was getting everyone's like phone numbers. And like people said like, oh, you're like an internet personnel to me. Like you're a persona to me. Like you're not a real person, which is very eye-opening. Cause like they said as a joke, but like in reality, I see most people as internet personas. Like I don't fucking, like there's no connection. Like most people, like there are very few people that I feel are like real to me. Like Raymond is sitting right in front of me, but then there's like people who I purely only see on the internet. And like I feel like there's attachment to these people because like I don't know, like I'm like indoctrinated in this ecosystem of social media. And then like I feel like if I like take myself out of it, it feels like I'm like leaving the city of these people that I've like grown up with, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Because it's like now I literally cannot talk to these people unless like I open up Instagram and like ask to hang out with them. But then I feel like it doesn't go both ways because like they're not on, like again, this sounds like like saying digital minimalism is like above others or whatever, but like we're not on the same wavelength because this person is not used to like people, I don't know, like hanging out with them for the first time or whatever. It requires like a lot of like internet cultivation. Like you need to cultivate this relationship through the internet and shit. But like that's like a lot of work, and like I'm not trying to do that because it's like not real. Because like this person forever exists until I meet them like on the internet, and it feels like very odd. And I don't know, like it was very hard to move away from that. But I'm also just trying to be more productive in the summer. Like I dead ass, like before this, or not before this, like a couple days ago, I just like fucking scrolled on Instagram for so long, and like I'm too scared to look at my screen time on Instagram because it's definitely not good. It's definitely like a couple hours, like 3-4 hours, maybe not, maybe like 2 hours, but even 2 hours is a lot because it's like it breaks my focus on whatever I'm doing because it's not like I'm sitting on Instagram for 3 hours straight. It's like it's 3 hours split amongst the entire day. Like there is not an hour that I don't go, like unless I'm doing something super like high focus, like at the gym or some shit, that I don't check my phone, like check my Instagram or something. And like there's nothing there. Like, yeah, anyways. I think that's pretty much it, I think, unless you have anything else to add.
No, not really.
But I don't know. Like if you got to the end, you should interact with us and like learn about digital minimalism because, and like I don't know, just like join this journey because I feel like I don't know, people who are watching this are probably like our close friends.
Yeah. Most
likely. So I don't know. Let's have a conversation about it because I feel like it will help our relationship because digital whatever has ruined my life, bro. I'm not like it has made it so I'm scared to talk to people, and like it just gives me social anxiety, dog, to like fucking talk to people and or like start a conversation. Whereas like Raymond, I know like he probably just messages people out of nowhere. Is that true or no?
Sometimes, yeah. Like
because you literally have no other means. Like you can't reply to someone's story IRL. Like you have to just message them. Like, hey yo, did you?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah.
So I'm trying to be like that because I feel like that's more real than I don't know, some person posting about like I don't know, like this event, and I'm like, hey yo, is that fun? No, I don't do that. Actually, I don't do that. That's cringe. But like definitely is not real and feels very shallow. And I'm trying to exit myself out of that ecosystem. So yeah. No more final thoughts?
I think I feel like if I were to collect my thoughts more and then reflect more about like my whole generation in regards to social media, I would be able to like write a like Ja Tolentino-esque essay if I was good at writing. I don't think I'm that good at writing though, sadly. I feel like I would have more thoughts, but I don't. It's just like recently I've been thinking about how my social development has also kind of changed due to Instagram and not using it. In the sense of like, yeah, like I mentioned before, like feeling a bit of disconnect. And also like sometimes like when I was coming out of quarantine, like grade 10 or whatever, I feel like I was so bad socially. But I guess that also makes sense because everybody was quarantined. But then especially because I didn't interact online either, it was literally like I had like no social skills. I could only talk to friends I've already made. But thankfully we've had 1 year back in person, so it's like I'm like feeling normal. But I still feel like my entire just like adopting this lifestyle has been very rewarding in a sense of like I've been able to discover a lot more about myself rather than passively consume information that I'll forget about like once I get off the phone anyway, and like keep up shallow discussions or like keep 10 people in my DMs because I want to feel popular, even though that's not a real connection.
Sadly.
I feel like it is very, very rewarding to be on digital minimalism. So if you do adopt this after watching this podcast, then like there's no way to reach me if you're just someone on the internet. But if you know me in real life, then we can talk about it. Yeah.
Or we could talk to me. Actually, no, you can't even because I deleted Instagram.
Maybe we'll make a Discord server or something. I don't know.
Okay. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. And I hope you have a good one.